Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my Halloween movie marathon. And tonight, I'm going over The Wolfman, the original version. So I was never that big of a fan of like the whole werewolf genre or anything, but I decided to check this out because, well, I got the steelbook of the original 6 classic Universal monsters, so I decided, what the hell, I'll check this one out. And honestly, I think I like this movie more than the previous two that I've already seen, being Frankenstein and Dracula. And the reason why mostly has to do with Lon Chaney as Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman. I think he plays the part like great. Personally, I like him better than like Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster. Um, and to me, he just barely edges out Bela Lugosi as Dracula. I don't know if that's sacrilege or anything, but I think that Lon Chaney gave a damn good performance in this movie. Everyone else does great. And speaking of Bela Lugosi, he even has like a almost kind of an extended cameo, but like a minor role as the gypsy named Bela. But he's also pretty good in this. I honestly think that the small role he had in here like gave him a chance to flex more on his acting than as Dracula in the original film. But that's just me. Everybody else from the gypsy woman to Gwen to Larry's father John, I think that their actors did great in this movie. The lighting, I think, is better than in Frankenstein and Dracula, where the lighting actually makes the Wolfman look pretty horrifying, especially when he's like transforming into the Wolfman or transforming back into Larry Talbot. The camera shots are great. There is this interesting thing where they're constantly having fog rolling over at nighttime, which I thought made the set look pretty cool. The music was great, which, if anyone remembers from my reviews of Dracula and Frankenstein, one of my major gripes was that like no music is played outside of the opening and ending credits. But here they actually rectified that, and even though there's a lot of gaps that don't have music in it, they still do have play some tracks during like significant moments, such as when Larry Talbot gets bitten by a werewolf, or when he originally transforms into a werewolf, or when like he actually goes after people throughout the film. And speaking of the effects of Larry Talbot transforming into the werewolf, look great. I mean, by original Universal 1930s standards, yes, the effects are a little bit dated, where like you can tell that that the film kind of was like overlaid or anything. Like it's not completely smooth, but for what it's worth, the effect still does look pretty good. Like, it doesn't look too jarring, if that makes sense. There's a couple things that I'm a little bit on the fence about. Like, first of all, and this is something that I forgot to mention during my Dracula review. First of all, like, I feel like there's kind of an inconsistency with Wolfsbane in these movies, where in the original Dracula film, one of Dracula's weaknesses, or vampires' weaknesses in general, is Wolfsbane, which I don't know why they didn't go with garlic. I don't know if that was like a rights issue when they made the movie, but like for some reason they decided that that Wolfsbane was a weakness, where like if you wore a wreath of that, then Dracula or other vampires were like warded off. And even if it was a rights issue where like they couldn't use garlic for that movie, I was still trying to think of a way that it could make sense in the context of the film. Like, well, Dracula can turn into a wolf, and he has turned into a wolf even in that same movie. So maybe the wolfsbane is because like when he's in his wolf form, like that kind of scares him off. Well, in this film, wolfsbane is mentioned once, and it has no significance. Like, I think it would make more sense if the wolfsbane was basically like a werewolf's version of garlic, where that scares off the wolfman. But no, the wolfsbane makes one appearance in the form of like a cryptic riddle from the gypsies, and that's it. It plays no real role into the film. On the other hand, the silver is played up quite a bit, which, speaking of, Larry Talbot's cane, I want that cane. That looks like a badass cane. So, at least they had that going for it. And then another thing that I'm a little bit on the fence about is the fact that it takes about 40 minutes for Larry Talbot to actually become the Wolfman. And I get that that this was like a slow burn, and like it was building up to Larry's transformation throughout the film, like because I think it's about 15-20 minutes in where like he originally gets bitten or whatever. So it's a really slow burn until we eventually see like the title character, the Wolfman. But in a film that's only 70 minutes long, and the title is called The Wolfman, and even in the opening credits, which another thing that I did kind of like, that in the opening credits, they actually had like short snippets of the film showing each character, and it said like Lon Chaney as the Wolfman, and like this actor's name as John Talbot. But my point is, when you have a movie that's only 70 minutes long, and the title is called The Wolfman, and Lon Chaney is specifically billed as the Wolfman, not Larry Talbot, but the Wolfman, then I feel like it would have made more sense for him to transform like much earlier into the film, because at this point, like, we don't see the titular character until over halfway through, technically speaking. And speaking of Talbot getting a bit, another thing that was inconsistent about this film is the fact that the appearance of the werewolves are like completely different. Like, there's only two that appear, and the one who bites Larry Talbot, he doesn't even look that much like a wolf. He actually looks more like a dog, and that might have been what they used for filming. But going back to a similar complaint I made just a minute ago, when you have like the Wolfman, Larry Talbot, being basically like an animalistic humanoid monster with hair and fangs and claws, I think it would have made way more sense for the first werewolf you see in this film to look similar to that, right? Or at the very least, like, look a little bit more humanoid instead of like just looking like a really big dog. But with that all said, like, this movie is still great. I mean, it's so far out of the 3 Universal Classic Monsters movies that I've seen so far, this is honestly my favorite. That could change once I finish watching the other 2 films. But as of now, my favorite is the Wolfman, and then Dracula, and then Frankenstein. And that's not even saying like the ones below that are bad or anything. It's just that, to me, the Wolfman was just more captivating for me. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't care for werewolf movies that much, but I liked this one. But that's it for this review, and I'll see you guys in the next horror movie review tomorrow night. Goodbye, everyone.